Thomas, it's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
Champions.
Good afternoon, welcome, and thanks for joining us for a very special edition of Arsenal Lounge. Let's just crack on with this because I know that our special guest has got a lot of commitments with Sky and various other things. So you know everybody in here, Lee and Turkish don't really need much when it comes to introductions, although they always get one from us. How you doing, guys? Shaheen, our co-host and presenter, and Fabrizio. Finally, we get you in here. How are you doing? Welcome to the lounge.
Hi guys, nice to be with you. Really, thank you for the invitation, and so happy to share some thoughts with you. So thank you.
Hopefully, you're still thanking us at the end of this, Fabrizio.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm going to take the lead. I'm going to hit the ground running with this because I'm the host, so I can get away with it. So I'm going to ask the first question here and set this rolling, and everyone can rotate and ask their questions. So Fabrizio, I've been reading up a lot of your articles recently. The one that stands out for me at the moment is the fact that you're expecting special things from Arsenal in January. We haven't been getting anything special from them on the pitch. So I've got to ask the question, what is it we're expecting that's special in January? Players coming in, out. Over to you.
I think they need something like quality in midfield. So this was the idea of the club also last summer, and we know they were trying to sign aouar till the last day of the transfer window. They signed Thomas, but it's something different. Obviously, as kind of player, they need to bring some quality to the midfield. So I think that Arsenal will try again on January to sign this kind of player. They were negotiating and talking with the agent of Szoboszlai by many weeks, so he was a target. He's been following by the scouting of Arsenal by many years. So we are talking, in my opinion, of one of the best talents we have in Europe in his role right now. He's an interesting player, a true talent. Now he has to make his decision because for sure Arsenal are interested, also AC Milan, also Leipzig, obviously with Red Bull and Leipzig, they can talk with Salzburg with no problem. So at the moment, the situation is that the player, after the Champions League week, this week, he will make his decision. And we have to understand also the position from the player. He is just waiting, but for sure, this kind of player, I don't know if it will Szoboszlai, if it will be aouar again. We have to wait a bit and understand the plan of Arsenal, but for sure, they want to bring some quality in the midfield. And in my opinion, it's a good decision because they need this kind of player. They need something, some magic in the midfield they don't have in this moment.
Perfect. So let's keep this rolling. So Turkish, I know you've been chomping at the bit, so I'm going to give you your question here for Fabrizio, mate.
I might as well just go off the back of that question you just said there, because I've got a few questions, but off the back of that one, Fabrizio, are we only after one quality midfielder, or is there rumours of more? Because you said aouar or szoboszlai. I think it should be both. We've heard rumours of Buendia at Norwich. I think we need minimum two, but what do you know? Is it just one more after this January?
I think it's difficult to move on January just because, as you know, January transfer window is so complicated. You don't have the same time as you have during the summer. It's complicated because many clubs don't want to lose a player and they have the problem to replace this kind of player. So it won't be so easy, in my opinion. Also with aouar, you know so well that it's a different situation by Szoboszlai. With Szoboszlai, you go, you pay the clause, you find agreement with the player, and you can sign him. It's not a big problem between clubs. With Lyon and with the president of Lyon, Nicolas, is a big problem to talk with, to find an agreement. So it's a complicated situation also with the player because obviously aouar was ready to join Arsenal last summer, but now it's a different situation just because in 6 months he can join also other clubs, like, I don't know, as Juventus, as Barcelona, many others that can try to sign this kind of player. So it won't be so easy, in my opinion, on January to bring two players with this quality. If I'd be an Arsenal fan, I would say I am happy with one, just because I can understand you are not living an easy moment, obviously, on the pitch. So you want more new players, but it's not so easy to sign this kind of players on January. So they will try for one in this moment. That's what I've been told. I can't say that for sure it won't be two players, but we need to wait a bit to understand the exact plan from Arsenal. But at the moment, they are going for one.
Well, if you was an Arsenal fan, Fabrizio, you wouldn't be happy with one. That's why you're smiling. Lee, let me chuck it over to you because I'm sure you've got plenty of questions too. You've heard what Fabrizio's had to say so far, following on from me and Turkish.
My question is going to be about aouar because obviously Arsenal chased him all summer and it didn't happen. So is there a chance that they will go back in January or in the summer, or do you think that could be dead in the water now?
I think they will try again, for sure. I think, yes. Now we have to understand what happens with Szoboszlai. So it's normal that in this moment, being Szoboszlai in the list, they are waiting to understand his final decision. And immediately after, if Szoboszlai will decide for another club, they can move again on aouar. They already spoke many times with his agent, also with Lyon. As I said, it's not easy. So I'm not expecting an easy deal to sign aouar in January, absolutely. But for sure, he's the top of the list for Arsenal by many months. He's the favorite of Arteta, and the same for the board. So yes, in my opinion, they will try again. And they will try also to change something also for the kind of deal. As we know, Olas always asked for 50 million euro. He always said 60, but with 50 million euro, he was going to sell the player. So we have to see in January, because we are in the middle of the season and won't be easy for Lyon to find another player with his quality and with his skills. So it's not an easy deal. I want to say this, but for sure, aouar is on the top of the list for Arsenal.
Okay, you've heard it here. I want to know why. What went wrong? But I'll let Shaheen ask his question. I know he's been waiting for a little while to ask something particular. So go ahead, Shaheen.
Yeah, Fabrizio, first of all, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everything we'll discuss today, guys, with Fabrizio, we're going to go in detail tomorrow at 8:30 with the judges on Turkish. So tune into that as well. My question, Fabrizio, is the current job security of Mikel Arteta, and what is, I don't know if you know this or not, but what is the thought process of the board? Has he got time? How long has he got? Or is he under any pressure at all? And they're like, oh, okay, we know it's a blip, and we're just going to let him carry on.
I was speaking with people around Arsenal also on last days, and I always had the same feeling from different people that there is no pressure at the moment and no risk for Mikel Arteta. They are so happy with work. Obviously, it's a complicated moment on the pitch, so I can be like, you're thinking I'm crazy to say this, just because also the board to say he has no pressure after this bad moment for Arsenal. But they need time. This is the feeling from the board. Sacking Arteta would be crazy in this moment. It would destroy the club, in their opinion. So they're going to give him time also to bring new players on January, also to change something also in his relationship with some players on next month. He's just arrived, so he needs time. You have to remember that we are in a complicated moment, not just in football, but in general, when you can't work too much also on trainings, because you have to play day by day, Europa League, Premier League, and you never have time on training to work with the team, to try something new. So it's not easy in this football today to change something. So he needs time. This is the feeling from the board. They want to go on with Arteta. They are so happy with the person as with the manager. They are convinced that he's the right man to take Arsenal back at their level. So they are going on with him. At the moment, there is no risk for Arteta.
Right, Fabrizio, I'd like to ask a question in regards to the perception, because obviously we're Arsenal fans from London. We don't really know what others think of us outside of our bubble here. But in your opinion, what is the perception of Arsenal as a club right now in regards to transfer dealings and going and getting the best players? Obviously, we don't have Champions League anymore, but why is it we struggle at the moment to land that sort of upper echelon of player? What is going on with our transfer dealings, in your opinion, that holds us back?
In my opinion, the most bad thing they had from Arsenal side on last year's that is so negative for what happens on transfers is when you sign a top star, a young player like Pepe. You go signing Pepe, spending a lot of money, and then you see this player not performing so well with Arsenal. This is, in my opinion, the real problem, because if you want to sign this kind of player, they're going to always think, and also if you speak with agents, they think, okay, we can have some problems if we bring this player to Arsenal in this moment. He's going to be as Pepe, and it's a problem because the player is losing value. He's not playing. He's no more a star. If you talk now about Pepe all over Europe, they say, okay, he was good in France, but at Arsenal he was not a good player. So this is a problem, in my opinion, the main problem. And I see the same situation happening here in Italy with AC Milan for many years. They bring in players like Paquetá. He was a top star in Brazil. He was seeming like the new Kaká, and then arrived here at AC Milan. It was terrible, and they loaned him out to Lyon, and complicated situation. But this season, immediately after they signed Ibrahimovic, They are top of the league. Everything changed in like 6 months for AC Milan. And I hope for something similar for Arsenal. They need, in my opinion, some new leader in the team. Thomas Partey was a top deal this summer. He's a solid player. I love him. But they need, in my opinion, some leader in the group. Because when you bring in this kind of players, you can have good young players, but everything going to change if you have leaders. And I say this because here in Italy, we were convinced like 5 or 6 months ago, if you said, okay, AC Milan will be top of the league, no Inter, no Juventus, AC Milan, I would say it's crazy, because you remember also AC Milan playing against Arsenal in Europa League. They were terrible. And immediately after they signed Ibrahimovic, everything has changed. And he's like 40 years old. So he's not a young talent. He's the leader. Yeah. And Arsenal, in my opinion, need to bring on some leader, not just young talents, not just future players, but someone who is ready to say, okay, let's change the situation together. Because also on transfers, when you have this kind of players, everything is going to change also with agents and with players that want to play with leaders. It's so important.
Brilliant, brilliant. So please hit the likes, please subscribe, put your notifications on. We're going to have loads more content like this. Turkish, over to you. Go get through that list, bro.
It's again another question off the back of what you said. Touching on what you said, it's the question I want to ask, Fabrizio. Listen, I want your opinion here, yeah? I want your opinion straight from the heart, because you've got links in and around Europe. Are we still respected as a football club from top to bottom in terms of players, in terms of dealings? Because it seems that we struggle to bring in top talent, and it seems that we struggle to let go of the players we need to let go of. Is it because of the standing of Arsenal Football Club, the respect? What do you think?
I want to tell you, but not just by Italian side, but European and worldwide side, just that Arsenal would never be unrespected from anyone, like agents. If you talk with agents, if you talk with directors, if you talk with players, Arsenal is always so respected. History of clubs won't change. Also, if you have 1 or 2 or 5 years with terrible season in football, is part of the game. We have this in football, obviously. So I told you about AC Milan. It's the same for Inter. Here in Italy, they are not winning by 10 years. Here in Italy, Inter are not winning anything, and the same for AC Milan, and they are still so respected. It's exactly the same when I speak with people around Europe about Arsenal. They always tell me positive things. As I told you, the only problem is when you bring on young players and they are not performing as you were expecting. So this is a problem, but the respect for the club, for the history, for the fan base, for the board, because in my opinion, Arsenal have a good board. That's my opinion. But when you talk about people like Edu, I know him since he was in Brazil. They made an amazing work. Obviously, they need time, because in this moment it's a terrible period on the pitch, but I'm convinced that having time and bringing some leader, everything can change. The situation around Europe is that they are going to respect Arsenal, in my opinion, always, because when you talk about top clubs, there are like 10 or 15 for clubs that are never change their status. They will be always top clubs. For sure, being in Champions League is so important, guys. This is key on transfers, because players want to play the Champions League. This is so important today. When you speak with agents of important players, they always say, yes, but we want to play the Champions League. Look also at Raiola with Holland. He said, okay, Real Madrid, many clubs, yes, but he wants to win the Champions League. So this is the immediate feeling when you talk with people around young players, but in general, top players, they want to play the Champions League. So in my opinion, it would be so important for Arsenal to be back in the Champions League as soon as possible. This is the key to be back at top level.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Interesting comments with regards to the board, etc. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Mr. Judges, go ahead.
Yeah, the question I've got is that there's always the rumours about Arsenal got no money, no financial clout no more. Does the agents and other clubs know this, or is it a myth, or what is it you understand? Have Arsenal got money to spend on transfers?
First of all, I think yes, just because signing Thomas Partey with the release clause, paying immediately in 24 hours with Atletico Madrid board were shocked. They said we were not expecting anything like this from any club. It was not just about Arsenal. We had rumors about Chelsea and same about Juventus in some weeks. And they said it's impossible. No one is going to pay. This summer with the COVID impact, they're going to pay 45 million euro in one solution immediately. And when Arsenal did it on deadline day, they were shocked. Really, they were not expecting this deal. Till the last hours, they said, we hope that they're not going to pay, but we are sure they're not going to pay. And they did it. So yes, they have money and they have a plan. But the main problem is that today for top clubs as Arsenal and top clubs in general, the main problem is with the situation, obviously, of the virus. Just because when you talk with directors also here in Italy, with Juventus, with Barcelona, with Bayern Munich, you can't sign players without selling players. It's so complicated. That's why they weren't expecting the situation of Thomas, because they loaned out Torreira. It was not a permanent deal. It was not 40 million euro. So they were not expecting this kind of move from Arsenal. But yes, they have money, but they need to do something interesting also on selling players. This is so important. I was expecting Arsenal this summer to sell players like Socrates, like Kolasinac, and many others, just because they were needing to bring money to also with the wages to change something with the salaries, and they didn't. So this is so important to make transfer today. Look at Barcelona situation. They had the Depay deal done with Lyon, and they didn't sign him just because Dembélé was not going to leave the club. And the same here for Juventus. They were trying for Pogba, and they can't sign Pogba until Dybala will leave the club. So they have a lot of problems in top clubs, and the COVID impact is really, really big. So in my opinion, as a journalist, we have to respect the situation of Arsenal and of top clubs, because they are not bringing money from the stadium, from merchandising, from many sides. They are totally off in this moment. So they need to sell players, and I hope Arsenal can change something this January.
Oof, we're getting all the inside information today. Arsenal have money. We don't think that.
Sorry,
they have.
Shaheen.
Nev.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on. I know you're chomping at the bit, mate. Go for it.
Go on, Turkish.
Shaheen,
No,
just
go
off
on.
the back of that,
Turkish
because you know
got
the
a
departure.
list.
No, the departures, we're on that now. So the departures are a massive problem. I know this. And you alluded to the summer, Fabrizio, and you said we didn't do that. Did we not do that because we didn't want to do that? Or did we not do that because people were not interested because of the climate we're in? And on top of that, moving into January, who is on the market at Arsenal? Do you know of players on the market? Not only Ozil and Socrates, who are not in the 25-man squad. Are other players available at Arsenal Football Club right now?
You have a lot of players that are not playing, obviously, with Ozil's situation, and the same for Kolasinac. So many players can leave the club. At the moment, I don't know exactly about the plan of who's going to leave the club, because it would be unrespectful. And to be honest, it's so difficult now to understand who's going to leave the club in a difficult moment like this. Arsenal are trying to protect the club and the players. So it's obvious in this moment on the pitch is terrible. So they need to protect the players and more. But for sure, they will change something on January. They know that they need to change. For example, Kolasinac was a done deal with Bayer Leverkusen, was absolutely done deal, and it collapsed just because of his salary with Bayer Leverkusen. He didn't find an agreement on personal terms. So just to make you an example, and Socrates was sold to Napoli on August, was a done deal, and it was not completed just because Napoli wasn't going to sell Koulibaly to Manchester City. So, many times on transfers, they are related one to the other one. It's part of the game in transfers. So we have to wait a bit, understand at the start of January what's going to happen. But for sure, Arsenal, as all top clubs, need to sell some player to bring on new players. And that's why Atletico Madrid were shocked with Thomas Partey, because it was seeming crazy to spend 45 million euro in this economical situation.
What I wanted to ask Fabrizio from you is that I'm going to put two questions I wanted to ask in one, and that will be me. There's two things. One, what happened to Raul Sanelli and that 10 million that apparently has gone missing, if you know? And if you know, what is the feeling about this Ozil situation around the world, Europe, or if any inside information about what's going on with Mesut Ozil?
The situation is Ozil as a feeling between people in transfers, and they say like directors, like agents, they can't trust the real situation. They can't understand what's happening. It's crazy just because sometimes you have a good player, sometimes he's out from the team. It's absolutely crazy. It's the typical situation we have in top clubs when a player is not performing and he needs to leave the club. And in my opinion, this was a mistake from Arsenal board. They were needing to sell the player before. They can't arrive at this point with this player. Has been crazy. So the feeling is that the player wants to leave, obviously, and Arsenal want to make him leave. But at the moment, it's so complicated just because of his wages. He had a proposal from Arabic football, and he said no, he didn't want to leave. Many times he has been offered to Italian clubs. I remember this summer I was speaking with an Italian people from board of Juventus, and they told me that we had offered Ozil like 4 or 5 times in last years, and we never wanted him. So many times this kind of player need to change. They just need to change. So I expect Ozil to leave Arsenal for sure on January.
Super.
I want to ask something, Fabrizio. I don't think we really got to the crux. I've heard a lot of different sort of rumors as to what happened. Some were saying it's his brother, etc. What went wrong with Hwassim deal? Were we looking to get both? Was it only the one we were looking for? And what went wrong with it?
What do you mean? Sorry, I wasn't listening so well.
Hwassim, the Hwassim or
aouar. Yes,
aouar. You say it better than me. What went wrong with that deal?
You say it better than me.
No.
And no. The situation was particular, I would say, just because in one moment we had like a moment with 2 or 3 weeks when if you had to pay like 50 million euro, we're going to sign the player for sure. So it was ready. Also, aouar wanted to leave Arsenal, then wanted to leave Lyon, obviously. So then immediately after, at the last week of transfers, where Arsenal were moving to sign him, he wasn't feeling like ready to leave in this moment. He also had a proposal from Juventus. It was true that Juventus were trying to sign him, and also someone from Paris Saint-Germain told him, next summer we're coming for you, so you can wait. He was waiting for Arsenal for 3 or 4 weeks. They didn't pay, they didn't sign him, and that's why aouar changed this position with Arsenal on the last week or last transfer window. So let's see what happens on January. That's why I say it's not so easy, because you have to negotiate with Olas, with Lyon president, but you have also to convince the player right now to change on January. So it's not so easy. He's the favorite of the board, but it's not easy. Also because other clubs are interested, and aouar knows that he can move to play Champions League. I don't know if on January or next summer, but he has Champions League clubs moving for him. So my feeling, and also feeling of people around aouar, is that Arsenal lost the right moment to sign him. It was like for 3 or 4 weeks at the start of the middle of August. It was a big opportunity. They lost the right moment, and now it's so complicated. But I want to say again, he's on the top of the list. So pay attention, because Arsenal, in my opinion, will try again to bring this kind of player, and for sure aouar is the favorite.
Mr. Judges, sound like we bottled it. We didn't move quick enough. What's your thoughts? And what else you want to ask, mate?
Yeah, well, this is the trouble with Arsenal, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? And that's why we've you know, like, and I think that's why we're in the predicament we are at the moment, because obviously we've got the lack of creativity in the midfield and goals, and it's costing us. So Arsenal should have gone for that. Like, I've got to ask the question about, you know, there's been rumours about Eriksen coming from Inter Milan on loan or anything. Is there any truth in that, or is that just pure speculation?
People around Eriksen are offering him to all top clubs, like Arsenal, like Borussia Dortmund. He's in a crazy situation here. It's the same like Ozil with Arsenal, you know? Quality player, but he's on another planet. When you see him playing, he seems like he's not Eriksen. He's not the same player of Tottenham. We're talking about a guy who is a terrible feeling with Conte. Conte is not happy with him when he trains, and also when he is on the pitch. He's not playing more at the moment. He's like 1 month he's not playing with Inter. And imagine that Inter don't have quality players in midfield. They have good young players, Italians, okay, but nothing special apart from Arturo Vidal. And he's not playing. He's never playing. So he wants to change. For sure, he will be out from Inter on January. In my opinion, we have to pay attention, just because, you know, as I say, January is a transfer window where you have a lot of opportunities. You have to go for opportunities with players on loan, with buy option, with swap deals. So I say pay attention to Eriksen, just because he has been offered to a lot of clubs. And for sure, Arsenal, if they will not go for aouar, if they can't sign Szoboszlai, they can consider this kind of move. At the moment, right now, there is nothing, no talks for Eriksen. But pay attention, because when this kind of player is ready to leave the club, and the club want to find a solution, because Inter want absolutely to sell Eriksen in January, we have to pay attention, but not just for Arsenal, also for other clubs, because it's a big opportunity. And in my opinion, he needs to change league. It's not just about Inter. He's not good to play in Italy. It's something different from his attitude. So I would be happy for Eriksen to come back in Premier League, because he's suffering here.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with him. We might squeeze one more in, because we know that Fabrizio has to duck off Turkish.
Yeah,
we can squeeze one more in, bro. I know you got one.
All right. Sorry, Fabrizio. I don't know. Shaheen did ask, but I don't think I missed the answer. You know, Raul, what happened with Raul, and also your opinion on why Arteta went from head coach to manager, because that's a big thing that's happened at this club in the past few months that, you know, we don't talk about enough. And as fans, we was fed up with Wenger being the manager, being everything on him, but we reverted back to that. I think you said you and Edu are familiar with each other. So do you know anything about that move for Arteta, and to touch on Raul and what happened there?
Just because if I know that talking about it in this moment, it seems crazy because Arsenal are not performing well. It's a difficult moment, okay. But people around the club were in love with Arteta immediately after they signed him. It was a special feeling. They were convinced, and they are still convinced right now that he's the right man to take Arsenal back at their level. So that's why immediately they said, okay, you are also so good in talking with players. Remember what happened with Aubameyang. Aubameyang had a bid from Barcelona to join the club if Lautaro Martinez wasn't going to join. And it was a serious opportunity for Aubameyang. And just talking with Arteta, he decided to stay. And it was so important for Arsenal. And also with other players, with Lacazette and many others, he's so good with talking with players. He has a good relationship sometimes also with agents if they offer players, and the same with Thomas. He was key calling Thomas like day by day to join Arsenal, and it was a perfect strategy, we have to say. Obviously, now is a difficult moment, but Thomas Partey joined Arsenal just because it was a perfect strategy. Without this strategy, this player was going to stay at Atletico Madrid 100%, and they were convinced, as I told you. So from the board, they were convinced since the day one that he's perfect to help also on transfers, to help about everything as part of the club. So since the day one, they were really in love with the feeling they had with Arteta. I know in this moment it's crazy to talk about it because you say, okay, we are losing matches, we are not good on the pitch, so it's normal. But just wait. This is the feeling on the board. Wait, because...
We're used to that, Fabrizio. Now it's not the first season, and it won't be the last season that we've started like this. But what about Raul quickly? Sanlei, what happened there?
With what you mean? What you mean? Sorry.
Raul Sanlei.
This was great. It was a crazy situation between the board. I don't want to say too much because, with board situation is so complicated, and sometimes with fighting, and, also what happened with the agent of Willian, like Kia, and the special relationship they had. So many times in football right now, we have this kind of situation, it's the same. It's happening with Jorge Mendes and with Mino Raiola, with other clubs. So agents are affecting what's happening with the boards of top clubs, and it's been the same with Ralston Leahy. So for sure, this is part of the game, but I can't say so much because it's part of the board logic. So that's it.
Very diplomatic, very diplomatic there, Fabrizio. Listen, it's been brilliant having you on. I mean, are you available for one more question, or do you have to shoot off now? Please let us know.
Yes, I have time for the last one, and then here we go.
Oh, brilliant. Shaheen, this is your chance for one swan song question.
I just wanted to ask about, obviously, the Raul and Ozil thing. I'll give my chance to Turkish. I know he's got more questions than me. So you ask the last one, brother.
What? Turkish is getting loads.
The last one, yeah. Fabrizio, Stan Kroenke, the owner of Arsenal Football Club. Your opinion?
My opinion is a good question, this one. And my opinion is that I can't judge like owners just because, in this moment, I want to say again, we are in a crazy situation, guys, with the economical impact of the COVID of the club. So you can judge him. And in my opinion, he's doing in this moment the best. As I told you, the Thomas deal, in my opinion, was great. I know in this moment it's not good to speak up about Arsenal with this optimism, but in my opinion, they did many good things. Also signing Pepe was so good too, and he's not performing. So the problem, in my opinion, is not the owner. It's about who's choosing the players. I want to say again, they need leaders. They need to sign true leaders to change the situation. This is the feeling also about the agents talking about Arsenal. They say, yes, Arsenal feeling is that they are always signing young players, good players, but there are no leader. Also, for example, in the defense, they need a true leader. Okay, good players. Gabriel is an amazing defender. William Saliba is a good young, but they need leaders. That's the feeling around the club. In my opinion, the problem is not the owner. It's like choosing the right players.
But that morning you woke up like maybe 6-7 years ago and you saw that Arsenal bidded £40 million and £1 for Luis Suarez. Surely that sort of ownership. That's why I asked the question, Fabrizio. It's not necessarily the last period. What owner in the world would do such a thing? It doesn't make sense.
I know your feeling as a fan. By my perspective, it's different, obviously, because I'm not judging like owners or board. It's not my work, but I can understand your feeling.
Yeah, you're right. We need leaders. That's the full stop, really. You're right.
I hope for you.
Let's listen, guys. Hit the likes button, subscribe, hit your notifications. We're going to discuss this in more detail tomorrow on Real Talk. So don't expect us to go into it in massive detail today. Fabrizio, It's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you for coming on.
you.
We'd love to get you back on just before the January window opens. Yeah, so please keep an eye out for those emails because they're coming your way. Yeah,
for sure. I will be there. Thank you, guys. Been a real
pleasure having you. Go and do your thing for Sky, and if you want to give us a plug on Sky, you're welcome to. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Right, take care, Fabrizio.
Bye.
Bye. So, guys, you've heard what Fabrizio's had to say. We're going to go into it in detail tomorrow on Real Talk, but we'll give a 10-15 minute recap on things. What do you guys think of what you've heard? A couple of things that surprised me there. I mean, he's saying the board's good, that sort of thing. Maybe we have got it wrong. I mean, I'll throw this out there, Lee. What did you think about what you heard?
Well, the first thing that I'm quite pleased about was that he was saying that Arsenal do have money, and the Partey deal, confirmed that because they put the money up front. Bosh, done. And I think that tells me that was to do with the owners. The owners done that. So as critical as we are of the owners, they've come up trumps there. They need to come up trumps in January, and hopefully, it does seem that they're in for the players. It's whether they want to come to Arsenal, and I'm a little bit worried that maybe that could be because where we are in the league and the way we're playing. Look, say if we was third or fourth in the league and chasing, I think it would be easy to sign aouar and the fella from Hungary. But unfortunately, where we are at the moment, it's very precarious. But I think there's a great point that was made about AC Milan. Look how they were struggling, and they brought in Eber, and you could go on that same thing with Manchester United last season with Bruno Fernandes. It changed things. That is what Arsenal have got to do in January. The only thing we didn't really know is whether if he could have actually have. I don't really want to see us signing someone on the 31st of January. I want it to be done on the 1st. I know that I was saying that's difficult, which I understand, but surely there must be talk now in December if it is the case he wants to come. I hope that we're going to get these players in January because we need them before the window shuts. But it was interesting to say that these transfers are difficult at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, really insightful stuff. As I said, Shaheen, what did you think of what you heard?
He just confirmed a few things that we were suspecting. The fact that he didn't want to discuss Raul. This was a messy situation. I asked him once. I thought he didn't get it. And when Turkish asked again, and he said, it shows there was a problem there. So that's that. With regards to the transfers, again, he confirmed that it was Arsenal who fucked up the Aouar deal. So that's the other thing he confirmed. And it was interesting for him it was interesting for us to hear that Arsenal got interesting plans in the summer. In the January transfer window. So. Yeah, maybe, hopefully they will get the thing. The other thing that I was a bit surprised is the love and affection that apparently everyone's got for Arteta in the club. That is a bit worrying for me, to be honest with you, because that shows to me Arteta can do a lot worse than what he's doing now and he will still be okay.
Come on, man. Listen, let's move on. Turkish. You heard what Fabrizio had to say. I mean, obviously, he's much better media trained than we are, and I'm sure he's kept a few things sort of a little bit diplomatic. I still have big question marks with our board. If you look at the last 10, 15 years, it's inexcusable. What's your thoughts on what you heard?
I think similar to what Lee and Shaheen said, especially Shaheen with the Raul question, for example. Obviously, there is something there. And he mentioned agents as well, and we know about Kia Jurubshain and the rumours around him and what happened. So there's definitely something there. And the manager, the head coach role turned into manager with Arteta. I feel like essentially this new process started this summer. So if they do support him and if they do believe in him from the way he talks, the way he carries himself, all of that, like Fabrizio said, then in January and next summer, when all those contracts finish, we should see the action. And surprisingly enough, usually in the past 2 years in December, we are here reading day after day, we've got no money in January. We can only do this loan. This December, we're sitting here and szoboszlai is a very, it seems like a very realistic shout at the moment. Now, if they do it or not, there's a lot of things realistic out there. We could have signed Ziyech last season for 33 mil, but we didn't. That was realistic. So whether we do it or not, that is massive. But if we do it, like Lee said, the first 2 weeks, because that shows us being proactive. and we've never been proactive in the transfer window. So all of these little things have to change before I believe some of the things we found out today. But it is good to hear a perspective from someone that has all the, you know, links in and around Europe.
Yeah. I mean, look, a couple of positive things we heard, but a couple of negative as well. The one thing that stood out for me is the perception when asked was that we're getting the younger up and coming players, which is our only route at the moment. When you think about it, we don't have Champions League to offer, so we're up against it in the transfer window. So the only other option is to go and find those younger up and coming talents like your Martinellis of this world. But now people are looking at that and thinking, are they going to thrive at Arsenal like they used to? Before, they used to come as a stepping stone, didn't they? But are they going to do that now? They're looking at Pepe, etc. And, you know, are they going to think twice about it? And that's a little concern for me. But these are all things we can go into tomorrow on Real Talk. That's at 8:30 tomorrow, Wednesday. Real Talk with Lee and Turkish will be going into this in a lot of detail. I'm going to mull it all over. I'm sure these boys are as well. And we're going to look into, you know, a little bit more depth. So come and join us tomorrow. If you haven't hit your likes, hit the likes now.
Yeah, sorry.
Go on, Turkish. Go on, bro.
Hit the like button, people. It's only got 280 likes. They brought Fabrizio Romano on here, and they're bringing him again at the end of December. Get that.
We got 1,600 people and 200 likes. Come on, guys. Give us some love, yeah? Well said, Turkish. Well said, man. So, look, guys, thank you for joining us. I don't want to keep you guys today because we're back on tomorrow, but it was a special program. So, Lee, thank you for joining us. Turkish, brilliant.
No.
Thank you, man. And if I left Turkish, I think he would have still been here asking questions. So we'll have to
coming on.
We'll have to get him on for an hour next week.
In case for anybody who don't know, Turkish LDN, subscribe to my brother Turkish as well. He's got a wicked channel, good content, does a lot more than us. So yeah, subscribe, and hopefully we will see you guys tomorrow at 8:30, same place, us four, and we're gonna go into everything in details, the North London derby, the whole thing.
And give us, the more likes you give us, the more we'll be putting into this content. We'll get more people like Fabrizio on. We'll go out and find these people and we'll bring them in. But we need your support. So hit those likes, subscribe if you haven't already, and share and put your notifications on, because we've got some big shows coming up, starting with Real Talk tomorrow. So I'm Lavanja, saying good night, good day, or whatever it is, whatever the time is, to all you fellow loungers and my colleagues in here. Thank you for joining us. Peace out and see you tomorrow.
Love.